don't make me make my husband have to learn how to fix sewing machines too. Hello and welcome to or back to Miss Crafts-A-Lot's lair. Today for you is probably going to be kind of a short, sweet video, but I saw a need. I thus fill that need. So I am intending on making a server apron as some red from the other fabric. Anyway, I am intending on making a server's apron for a server who is phone and also waits tables. So I have decided, saying that they do not have a an apron, correct English here. Um, no, not correct English. Anywho, so I have decided that, well, I have mentioned to them that I could make them a server's apron, and they're like, really? That sounds useful. So therefore, that is what I'm going to do. So, yeah, here we go. Here is a 2-yard cut of black cotton. However, you can make this with 1 yard. Just saying. So I am going to start off um, by, as you can tell, my fabric is all nice and washed and pressed nicely with my new iron. I will be showing that here in a second, but nothing too fancy, but it will get the job done. I'm kind of hard on my irons, so I don't keep my irons around for very long. So the first cut I am making is going to be 12.5 inches by the 44 inches that this particular fabric is. If you are not using by the yard fabric, you can use 3 fat quarters and use the extra from the fat quarters cut off in order to make the tie. So that is 12.5. So if you were doing fat quarters, you would actually be cutting 4.5, 5.5 inches off, because it would be 18 inches, 18 inches. Yeah, 4.5, 5.5. And then I am going to line this up again, and I am going to now cut a 2.5 inch or 2-inch strip. This will be part of the strap. And I'm going to go with another 2-inch, because there. And then for the pocket, we are going to cut a 16-inch piece that is going to be 22 inches wide. This shrunk quite a bit because it was supposed to be 44 inches wide, and this is not 44 inches wide. Like, not even stretching it salvage. Well, no, no, that's not even. They did me dirty. Maybe using salvage. We're gonna have to use salvage because, yeah. Okay, so I'm popping on here real quick to say, if you are buying something that you want to definitely be 44 inches, give yourself some extra fabric when it comes to the Waverly fabric. This is not 44 inches wide. I like I said, I washed it, dried it, um, but it did shrink up to being about 42 inches wide. And like I said, the packaging said 44 inches. I'm pretty sure. I have to take a look. But I'm pretty sure it said 44 inches wide and it shrunk up 2 inches. And here I am cutting at about an eighth of an inch away from the fold so then I can get two of the equal size fabric cuts. And then with the 2-inch strips still folded in half, I cut those to be 18.5 inches when they were folded in half. So that was two strips of 30. This would be my new iron. Let's see if I can get it in camera here. It's Black & Decker. It's even steam. Got it at Wally World because you know Wally World. Um, yeah. And no, this is not really Starburst water. Just an old bottle. So I need to put a little bit more water in here. And then I took the 16-inch cut of fabric and I went ahead and steamed that. I cut that the same way as I cut the 12-inch if that was missed. Um, so then that way it was half of the 42 inches with the salvage edges. And then I folded that in half. So then that way it is 8 inches instead of the 16 inches. And I pressed that so it would stay down. And since I was already pressing, let me just say that it just took me an embarrassing long time to rethread my machine from white to black because I'm pretty sure they don't want white thread. This is going to be the pocket sew. So I'm going to do this probably about an eighth of an inch. We're all good. All right, needle's happy. So I think there would be good. So I have it backstitched a little bit. Um, have the right up on this pressed seam, and I am going to go. And you probably don't want to listen to this, so audio here is probably going to get cut out. So this is why I keep a pair of old tweezers in my sewing kit. They're no longer good for getting slivers or whatever, but they are good for getting in here and getting random fluff from my sewing. So if y'all ever wonder why I have a pair of tweezers in my sewing kit, I would recommend you also keep a pair of tweezers in your sewing kit um, for that kind of reason. Oh, it kind of ran off. Oops. Oh, I got caught. Ugh. There, now she sounds better. Why are you sounding squeaky? You are not supposed to sound squeaky. Is your shit tight? Don't make me make my husband have to learn how to fix sewing machines too. Maybe it's because I'm going slower with you. You don't like slow. You want to go fast. What the hell is that? Why? Okay, now I completely get that this is not bias tape, technically. However, I am going to be using it similar to bias tape. So, this is actually like as you saw me cut it, it's cut straight. So therefore, technically not bias tape. But if I call it bias tape, don't come after me. So I do want to connect these two pieces because of the fact that they are going to be basically used like bias tape. So therefore, but I'm just going to eyeball this though because I'm not going to be particularly um, precise in this, but about a quarter of an inch per there. And then machine drops the needle. So I am going to sew from there diagonally to about here. Like I said, not particularly like I have already fought this machine enough. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. And it's getting the squeaky squeaky again. So it is kind of a little off, ever so squishy. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm gonna go over and uh, iron this, and then I have the pocket all sewn up along the top. So now it's just a matter of putting this onto the sewing the actual pockets. I could be lazy and I could just put this on and do the whole thing around it and then sew pockets to both sides of the lining of the sides. However, I don't know if I want to do that. I think I might want to actually just sew it to the one side first and then sew the back to it and that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll be back. All right, so what I'm going to start off by doing is folding this in half. Gets me that nice little half mark here. Do I have a bias tape folding thing for my sewing machine? With as many things as I have for that sewing machine, I probably do. Am I going to go look for it and try it out today? No. No, I'm not. This is the way I generally do these strips anywho, so it's just a gadget. If I have it, it's just a gadget that is probably not going to be used that much, as you can tell. Wait, I'm trying not to burn myself because that is not on my bingo card for 2025. So, yeah. All right. And now I'm going to open this up and I'm going to fold into the middle. And then I press that down, pressing this to the middle. So basically, I am pressing those raw edges towards the middle, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to fold this in half and press it again. So basically, it is 4 pieces of fabric all put together. And then it was a quick press to the 12-inch fabric and getting that all ready for the pockets. To there. Maybe just a little bit over. Just in case a bigger phone is gotten. And then I set out to sew the pockets. So let me show you what I have done so far. I have some flappy pockets. Pocketses. Got some pocketses. Perfect size for phone pocketses as well. And straws. And yeah. So now what I am going to do is pocketses. Pockets up. The back piece is going to go down under like so. Okay. My container clips, but I have my pockets layer all zipped in here, saying that now you can see it a little bit better, saying that it's in better light and it is black. So I am going to go ahead and put this down on top of the pockets, right sides together. And then I am going to throw my pins at myself, or my clips at myself, because, you know, what other better way to do it? And I'll line up the bottom here, put in as many pins as I feel comfy with to hold this together. And I do have the selvage there because, you know, it shrunk on me, I think. It could actually honestly be because of the heat of that iron. I'm not used to an iron that's that with it, because I don't even think my old one worked that good when it was brand new. So even though it was the same brand, it didn't seem to work that well. So that being said, I'm going to clip this just for the fact that I don't want that getting caught up in my machine. All right. And then I'm going to pin this side. And then I want to make sure that these pockets are not getting messed up. This particular side pocket is a little bit, it's not exactly even with the other piece, so when I sew this, I'm going to have to make sure that that pocket is getting in there as well. So now it is back to sewing and moving you over. Now, do I think that it is important to backstitch at this point in time? Yes. When in doubt, backstitch. When in doubt, backstitch. And so I sewed all the way around these three sides. Okay, so I have it all together, and now I'm going to go ahead and flip it right side out. I have threads that need to get pulled through. All right. Now just double checking. We are going to check pockets. Phone. Phone. Making sure that everything is connected good in there. It is. All right. Back to that dragon of a um iron. And I am going to iron these seams down quick. And then I will be right back to show you the tie. Now, for the faux bias tape, you're going to want to open it up halfway so it's the 1 inch, fold down a couple of times, and then stitch that. So it's like this. So then that way you don't have any weird, like, not strings, but you don't have, well, yeah, strings. You don't want that being unfinished. I'm going to do the same on the other end now. And then I will show you what I do. They threw me off. So now I have it zipped up nice and neat. And now I am going to find the middle of it and kind of finger press middle of it, which I kind of already had found. Okay, so from here, I did press lightly a middle section on this so that I know where it's at. So I am going to move you again. I have the middle part heat pressed a seam there quick, or a heat pressed a not hem. What is the word I'm looking for now? Oh my goodness. I know English. Apparently, no, I don't. Okay, so I have that kind of pressed there so that way I can see it. I'm going to come in here and try to trim some of these off here quick. Otherwise, it is going to get terribly messy. Heat press the middle of it. Found the middle of this. So now I'm just going to go ahead and line that up and pin. Because we're going to see if we can do this in one just long shot of sew. So I'm going to tuck this up there nice. Try to get all of those little wispy ends. Fabric wisps. That's what they are. And I want to get that as close to like square in the middle as possible. And the only parts that I really need to clip on this right here is the part that the apron is actually at. Because the rest of it is already pressed in half, so it will pretty much stay where it's at. So now I have this all pinned together, and then I am going to run this for a seam. So now I'm going to go ahead and seam down this way as kind of probably about 1/8 of an inch, I would say, in. And that's going to be that fabric that's going to be way too thick, so I'm going to hand turn that. Put my needle down, and I'm going to go. And I indeed sewed. And when I got to the apron part, I just made sure that that was getting sewn as best as possible. I did end up having to go back over a couple of spots that got kind of lean on the other side, but it all worked out. All right. So, went about as good as I expected. Did my sewing machine, yeah, did my sewing machine sort of like decide to like mess up on me here and there? Yeah. Was I expecting that? Yeah. So, anywho, um, done. Let me show you. It ties in the back. Here are side pockets, one front pocket, and the side pocket big enough for a phone. So, yes. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, share, and subscribe. I like I said, I am going to be coming back with more videos. I have quite a few projects lined up. Um, one of which is waiting for materials, but we will get there. They are coming. I will have them next week. And I have quite a few other projects to be doing. So stick around, there's always more.